an economy. We're talking about inflation, we're talking about exchange rate, we're talking about nominal GDP figures, amongst others. So these will be the things that we'll base our analysis on. Then the viewers and you can make an informed decision whether or not what the exact state of the economy is. We'll start with the latest figures from the Ghana's Statistical Service, talking about the nominal GDP. Now, that is the total value of all goods and services produced in the country. And at the moment, it stands at 1.03 trillion cedis. And that sounds like a big number, right? But what does it mean to you? Well, if we divide this by the total number of people in Ghana, we get something called the GDP per capita. Right now, that figure is 30,294 cedis per person. Simply put, if Ghana's wealth were shared equally, each person would have contributed products and services worth about 30,000 cedis. But here's the real question. Does this translate to money in your pocket? Not necessarily. Now, GDP shows the size of the economy, but it doesn't tell us about the cost of living, job opportunities, or income level. So what's your take? Do these numbers reflect your reality, or they do not? This is something that the Economic Forum will also seek to digest and make informed decisions on. The next one we're looking at is inflation rates. Now, it is the rate at which prices of goods and services increase over time, meaning the same amount of money buys you less than before. And for the entire year, Ghana has struggled to bring it down. The entire year, Ghana's inflation has stubbornly refused to drop below 20% despite efforts to tame the rise. Now, back in January 2024, inflation stood at 23.5%. By mid-year, there was some relief, falling to somewhere 20.9%, 20.4% in August. But that did not last. Prices crept back up, ending the year exactly where we started at 23.5. Now, January 2025, the bigger concern, the IMF set an 18% inflation target. One we're supposed to achieve within the year, but 12 months later, we're nowhere close. So, is this the new normal, or is Ghana's fight against inflation running out of steam? These are some questions the National Economic Dialogue will seek to, or should seek to answer beginning tomorrow through to Tuesday. Let's look at the next indicator. We're talking about unemployment. Now, new data from the Ghana Statistical Service reveals that 14.7% of the country's active labor force, they are unemployed. That translates to 2.06 million Ghanaians, people who are ready and willing to work, but they simply cannot find jobs. The bigger picture, Ghana's active labor force stands at 13.7 million, but a significant chunk of it remains jobless, raising unemployment rate. A serious concern about economic growth, job creation, and the future of the country's entire workforce. So what's keeping these 2.06 million people from finding jobs? And what solutions are on the table? Maybe the 24-hour economic policy? We'll see how that goes tomorrow and on Tuesday. Another indicator we're looking at tonight, we're talking about the debt position of the country. Now, Ghana's debt burden continues to grow, and the numbers paint a very worrying picture. As are the latest figures, Ghana's total public debt stands at a staggering 721 billion cedis. Breaking it down, after debt servicing, we anticipate that we're looking at some 301 billion cedis for domestic debt and 420 billion cedis for external debt, adding to the pressure of repayments in foreign currency. Again, what does this mean to you, the ordinary Ghanaian? So based on these figures, every citizen now carries a debt burden of over 21,000 cedis. 21,000 cedis, 522. That is what we're looking at. Whether they know it or not, this is what every Ghanaian now owes. With concerns over debt sustainability and the country's ability to meet repayment obligations, the question remains, how does Ghana chart a path towards economic recovery without sinking deeper into the debt hole? That is something that hopefully the Economic Forum tomorrow and on Tuesday addresses. Now, one of the biggest of them all, we're talking about $1 in cedis. We're talking about the growth of the cedi or the depreciation of the Ghanaian cedi. Now, Ghana cedi has been on a steady decline, but the last few years have put it in a very brutal state. In 2016, we're looking at $1 was 4 cedis, 14 pesos. But by 2025, it is 15 cedis, 51 pesos. If you like, it is quadrupling it in less than 10 years, less than a decade. The real shock came after 2021 when the cedi crashed from 6 cedis, 5 pesos to somewhere 9 cedis, 80 pesos in 2022. Then it kept sliding, going down. 11 cedis, 96 pesos in 2023, 14 cedis, 69 pesos in 2024, and now 15 cedis, 51 pesos. This means that higher import costs, higher prices of fuel, or price of fuel, and relentless inflation. We spoke about that earlier. With the cedi still in free fall, the big question is, can it be saved, or the worst is yet to come? Tomorrow and in 2 days, we'll get to know what all of these will mean. Ayisha, so that is it for viewers. They could make an informed decision out of this and what they expect the economic dialogue to deal with tomorrow and on Tuesday.
Thank you very much for that in-depth analysis. We're going to be moving away from the economy, and more than 200 people in communities along the Keta Lagoon in the Volta region have been displaced following another incident of tidal wave on Saturday. Saturday's destructions caused by the sea is the fourth of such since the start of the year, leaving a significant impact on properties and livelihoods of residents in part of Ketu South, Keta and Anglo areas. We're going to zoom now to speak with Sylvester Kumeu. He is the assembly member for that area in question. Good evening, sir. Thank you for joining us on News 360. Hello, Mr. Kumeu. Mr. Kumeu, I can hear you, but I don't think that you're audible enough. So as you can see on your screens, those tidal waves caused in some communities, 200 communities, some communities in Keta in the Volta region. This was caused by the Keta Lagoon and has displaced a lot of people. This is the fourth since the beginning of the year, and some properties and livelihoods have been lost and residents are complaining. It has left residents in Ketu South, Keta and Anglo looking for what to do. And so we are trying again to get Sylvester Kumeu back on the line. He's the assembly member for the area to answer a few questions for us. Mr. Kumeu, I hope you can hear me now. Good evening to you. You seem to have lost Mr. Kumeu again. We'll try as much as possible to raise Mr. Kumeu and then ask him some of the questions that we're hoping for. But before then, we're moving on to some other stories. Crosby?
Well, we're still talking about disasters because the Northern Electricity Distribution Company Limited, NEDCO, their warehouse in Tamale was engulfed in fire earlier on Sunday, March 2. The fire led to the destruction of millions of cedis worth of transformers and other electrical equipment. Firefighters responded promptly to the scene and they worked to extinguish the flames. While the cause of the fire is still unknown, local firefighters, they suspect an electrical fault may have been the source of the blaze. We'll touch base with the corporate affairs manager of NEDCO in Tamale to get more on this worrying situation. Let's speak with Maxwell Kofoka. He's joining us from the area. Maxwell, if you can hear me, thank you so much for your time with us on the program. First of all, what is the extent of damage caused by the fire? Unfortunately, we lost Maxwell there, but we'll try and reconnect with Maxwell to give us the extent of damage and what preparations are to get power supply normalized.
Right, Crosby, while we wait for that, let's move on to this other story. President Mahama has reiterated his commitment to improving infrastructure development in the Ashanti region. He has assured that his government will ensure stalled hospital projects are completed to serve the people. He made the statement while fellowshipping with the clergy in Kumasi on Sunday. William Evans Inkum has filed the following report.
In November last year, President Mahama met with the clergy as the opposition leader of the NDC. He knelt and received a prayer. Two main objectives: God's intervention for a peaceful election and the ultimate target, win the polls. He won.
Maybe can say 3 days now. Yeah, that's so train electoral commission. I did change me mother and in your name. Yes, you knew person no kasa. Yes, you knew person no kasa. Miss me near bay. Yes, you knew vice president Baumia. And I'm see you any. Mama me 1 minute. Me rub a bathroom. Me cock room. Me train me say. And I me befa me phone. Me share na me on the phone so. Ozi me near penny. Me frau. I can tell say a kuna no a your compa na me share send your corner wo and wedding kunim.
4 months later, he's back to thank the Lord and the clergy. His message of developing the Ashanti region has been consistent and a firm assurance to these ministers of the gospel of his commitments.
Several projects that commenced under my previous administration and stalled under the recently outgone administration. I've assured Otumfo that we'll complete the Sewa Hospital this year. The completion would allow us to decongest Komfo Teaching Hospital so that important rehabilitation works can continue there. I've spoken to the managers of Eurojet The Invest, who are the contractors, and they have assured me that they will resume work in earnest at the Afari Military Hospital, ensure the speedy completion of that facility. Other projects such as the Swami Interchange and other road works were commenced without dedicated funding. But we have to look for sources of funding, and we're looking for sources of funding to speed up the work on these projects so that we can ease the congestion and inconvenience that the residents of Kumasi face.
The president's commitment to ensuring all-inclusive in his administration is not only evident in the current structure of the local government ministry, but his call to churches to also go into agric with that assurance of government is also an evidence that he is committed to fast developing the country's economy.
And I wish to confirm that any church that decides to go into agribusiness or agriculture, government will be there to support you.
William Evans Inkum, TV3 News, KNUST, Kumasi.
Well, let's take you back to the Northern Electricity Distribution Company Limited warehouse in Tamale, which was engulfed fire earlier today, and speak with Northern Regional Correspondent Christopher Moko. He's been following the development. He has joined us with some more update. Chris, thank you for your time with us on the program this evening. Talk to us about the extent of damage caused by the fire.
Yes, so Crosby, I can report that several electrical equipment worth millions of Ghana cedis have been destroyed as a result of the fire that caught the warehouse of the Northern Electricity Distribution Company later in the evening today. And as we speak, the company is counting its losses because that is the place that they keep most of their electrical equipment. We talk about transformers and other equipment that they keep at the warehouse. And so the fire service were actually called in, and fire service from the Tamale Metro as well as the regional office were at the scene to ensure that the fire is doused.
Chris, this is no doubt a key installation there. Does it have the potential to affect power supply in the metropolis, and what will be the impact?
Yeah, so far there hasn't been any reported case of an area that has suffered some level of power outages as a result of this particular incident that happened today. But we are still trying to keep in touch with the NEDCO officials to ascertain, one, exactly what happened before the place caught fire and what they have been able to salvage as a result of the intervention by the Ghana National Fire Service. Officials of the fire service have not also given us a clear indication of what actually caused the fire, but they suspect that it could be electrical fault.
Chris, thank you. Let's speak with Maxwell Kutaka. He's the manager of corporate communications at NEDCO. He's also joining us now with some more update on this very sad development. Maxwell, thank you for your time with us on the program. A very unfortunate evening for you, but we've had a picture, if you like, of the extent of damage. But can you quantify the cost of the damage?
Thank you very much, my brother. Good evening to you. Good evening to your viewers. That's a very difficult question to answer now. Maybe later it will become easier. As it stands, it's premature to do any reliable evaluation of the cost.
Right.
Some amount of money is obviously gone, but it is difficult to put a finger or even to do a back of envelope calculation of that for now.
My colleague Christopher just told me that at the moment we're not hearing of any report of power outages yet. But what is the impact of this incident on your work for the medium to the long term?
Well, again, that may be premature, but the good news, like you have confirmed, is that it's not affected any institution or individual outside NEDCO. I put it to the media jovially that, well, it's the butcher who has been butchered on this occasion. We have been affected ourselves at the warehouse. So the warehouse is not able to connect to the national grid as we speak. We have had to make some alternate arrangements to keep the place lighted because of the security implications. But it hasn't got any direct impact on our service to the public. And it is our intention, our hope, and every effort is going in that direction to ensure that it doesn't affect supply to the public.
Maxwell, thank you for that, if you like, consolation there. Maxwell Kutaka is the manager of corporate communications of NEDCO, speaking with us there.
To some more stories this evening, demands to operationalize the Komenda Sugar Factory are growing among residents of the Komenda Edunegwa district. The lack of jobs in the area, while the factory remains non-operational, is a major concern for the people. Correspondent Asiedu visited the area and filed this report.
Established in 1964 by Ghana's first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, the Komenda Sugar Factory initially aimed to produce sugar for both domestic and international markets. However, by the early 1990s, operations ceased due to managerial and technical challenges. Twice in 8 years, the government of Ghana has tried to revive the Komenda Sugar Factory. In 2016, the government under President John Mahama invested $35 million, a loan facility from the Indian Export-Import Bank, to revamp the factory. This investment was followed by an additional $24 million for the purpose of growing sugarcane to feed the factory. The Akufo-Addo-led administration, which took over in 2017, signed a deal with an Indian firm to run the factory. Despite all these interventions, the factory is still not operational. People in the Komenda area are extremely worried that the factory is not operating while they struggle to find jobs.
You may summon the oil of a bit of the sugar factory for the past 8 years.
Finding a job here is difficult. The sugar factory has not worked for the past 8 years. They keep doing maintenance, but it never works. We travel to far areas like Takoradi and Takwa to find jobs. So we are pleading with the new government to make the factory operational.
Say ejuma kodra na hia boys nso ayewo youth na yewo Komenda town no mu no. Iya so ye benye ejuma na yaye ma asumdwe.
We have a sugar factory here. When it works, we will find jobs, and it will help bring down social vices. We are pleading with them to operationalize the factory for us. Farmers who are committed to growing sugarcane in anticipation that their produce would be procured to feed the factory are in a state of despair. The national president of the Sugarcane Farmers Association, Samuel Mensah, spoke about the woes of sugarcane growers.
We grow
the sugarcane because of the factory, but because it is out of operation, there is no value for our produce. Those who come to buy offer cheaper prices. I am currently in court with one of them. We are hoping that the factory would run so they can purchase our sugarcane.
Just Friday, I'm in a court. But the cat, here, man, factory, was started Juma. Now you traction on the factory.
With the NDC and John Dramani Mahama returning to power, former executive secretary to the management board of the Komenda Sugar Factory, Ransford Vani Amwa, believes the factory will be operationalized. He, however, wants the government to focus on supporting farmers to grow sugarcane to run the factory.
The purpose of that loan is for the factory to produce sugar cane. 40% of the raw material that will be needed will be owned by the factory. Then the 60% will use part of this money, the $24.54 million, to help the outgrowers to expand their farms, so that at least we will not have issue in terms of the availability of the raw materials. So I know that this government will revisit that arrangement and will ensure that our farmers will be rest assured, because we know that we will improve their livelihood.
About 7,500 people are anticipated to gain employment when the factory becomes operational. The Member of Parliament for Komenda Edina Egwafu Abrim constituency, Samuel Tamales, believes that apart from providing jobs, the factory will also help reduce sugar imports and contribute to the growth of the economy.
We have the land. There are lots of people who have pledged to give us the land for us to do the job. What we need is for injected finances for this factory to go on. What is sad is this: if you look at Komenda Edina Egwafu Abrim, all our kids are outside looking for jobs. Whilst we have a factory over here that can give us at least 7,500 jobs, why are we not operationalizing this? Anyway, I understand. We built it and we are going to make sure that it works again.
The Minister for Trade, Industry and Agribusiness, Elizabeth Ofosu-Ejare, on a recent visit, emphasized the importance of restoring the factory to reduce Ghana's reliance on sugar imports.
The regional minister, the MP Nananom, and my good self will work together on the instructions of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to revamp Komenda Sugar Factory. We hope to extend the capacity once we start work. The plans for this factory is huge, and I'm sure that very soon we'll see signs of work at this place, so that our young people will find job, and then we'll have advantage of the full value chain. Look at it, the agribusiness side of agriculture.
Sugar imports have put a strain on the city, as huge amounts of dollars are spent annually to import sugar into the country. Ghana continues to import approximately $500 million worth of sugar annually. Operationalizing the Komenda Sugar Factory will cut down on imports and provide jobs for the teeming unemployed youth. For TV3 News, I am Akwesi Ado, Komenda.
And this is News 360, live from our studios here at Adisawe Kanda in Accra. We have more stories for you, but after this break. Stay with us.
Thank you for staying with us. Let's move on to some health stories. The Ghana Cardiology Society is urging citizens who exhibit symptoms of heart disease to report early to health facilities, as early reporting and detection can help minimize the risks associated with heart attacks. The association is also urging the government to make a conscious investment in the healthcare delivery system, focusing on the primary prevention of heart-related diseases. My colleague Christopher Amako has more in the following report.
Cardiac emergencies are one of the leading causes of death globally and locally, posing a serious challenge to healthcare systems. 9 out of 10 people lose their lives to cardiac emergencies if there is no early intervention. The prevalence is higher in men than in women and children. Heart attacks, also known as myocardial infarctions, stroke, hypertension, and aortic aneurysms, are some of the reported cases of cardiac emergencies. However, the shortage of cardiologists has been a major setback in dealing with cardiovascular emergencies, as there are only 35 cardiologists in the country. The national president of the Ghanaian Society of Cardiology, Dr. Collins Kokro, is concerned about the limited number of cardiologists across the country.
Yes, I'll be the first to admit that we do not have enough cardiologists or people with interest in cardiology in Ghana. If you take a country like Burkina Faso, they have about 100 plus cardiologists. In Ghana, we are only about 35 cardiologists, getting into 40.
Despite the limited number of cardiologists, early reporting to health facilities can help reduce the mortality rates.
And most of these cardiovascular emergencies, you see the way they present, a lot of them, they present a sudden death, okay, especially if there's no timely intervention. So you are very right that there's what we are probably seeing in the teaching hospital, the tip of the iceberg, and a large chunk of our population succumb to their illness even before they meet a specialist, okay.
In 2024, the Tamale Teaching Hospital recorded over 100 cardiac emergencies.
And a survey that we did about 2 years ago, a study in the Tamale Teaching Hospital, showed that we had over a span of about 12 months, we had almost 100 cases of of patients coming in with heart attacks. Okay, and realize that one of the challenges we've had in managing these patients have been the timeliness of coming to hospital presenting, and then the appropriateness of the interventions that we give.
For the Ghanaian Society of Cardiology, investing in cardiac emergency labs and equipment is essential.
Look at infrastructure. So infrastructure-wise, there's a very important equipment, which is called a cardiac catheterization lab, and it's very useful in the disbursement of treatment across the northern zone of country or northern belt of Ghana, middle belt, and the southern belt. There's only the southern belt that has this infrastructure. So I think that there has to be intentional policies, you know, for Ministry of Health, you know, the political will to make sure that there's at least equal distribution of these resources. So,
with the increasing number of cardiac emergencies in the country, citizens must prioritize their health, especially the most vital organ, the heart. Early reporting to health facilities and adopting a healthy lifestyle can save lives. Christopher Mwako, TV3 News, Tamale.
Now, stakeholders at the Global Health Partnership Program in Ghana, they're sharing and learning the event. It's been urging government to implement the Rural Incentive Package, which was completed and submitted to Parliament in the previous government. The package, which seeks to attract and retain health professionals in deprived areas, is yet to be implemented despite the growing threat of the exodus of healthcare workers in the country.
Reports suggest Ghana has one of the highest rates of healthcare worker migration within sub-Saharan Africa, with over 50% of doctors and 24% of nurses trained in the country now working overseas. The Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association revealed 723 nurses left the country since the onset of January 2024 alone. Aside this exodus, many of the healthcare professionals are rebellious towards working in rural areas for the same reasons. The poor working conditions, subpar salaries, a lack of respect for healthcare professionals, and lack of incentives to attract and retain them remain the challenges which the Rural Incentive Package seeks to address.
We came out with a brilliant report with various packages that could be offered as an incentive package to those who accept to work in underserved, deprived or typical rural areas of Ghana. It's a general concern, so I expect that the partners here will collectively push. Now that we have a new government, it's crucial that we implement that document because it will go a long way to attract and retain health professionals in these deprived areas.
The event revealed that the Ministry of Health has already placed the program on its action plan for the year to validate the true deprived districts. But the president of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association sees no reason for a revalidation.
We are being told that the Ministry of Health still wants to do some validation of which area qualifies as underserved or rural or deprived. But as far as I'm concerned, during the technical work, we were able to trash out these things. If an individual employee, whether a doctor, a nurse, or wherever, is working there, we should be able to define that this individual is working in a deprived area or an underserved area or a rural area.
The Global Health Workforce Program, a major initiative aimed at strengthening Ghana's health workforce and health system and advancing progress toward universal health coverage, hosted its sharing and learning event in Accra.
We've been so happy with the progress so far made. These are various projects that cuts across leadership and governance. The role of government now is these are funded projects, and some of them will need sustainability.
Health partnerships achievements to date and foster discussions on the effectiveness and sustainability of interventions towards a strengthened Ghanaian health workforce and health system for the future.
Also, the demand for mental health services has significantly increased in recent years, but professionals providing this essential care are facing mounting challenges. Many are working under immense pressure and with limited resources, struggling to meet the growing needs of those seeking help. Bono East Regional Correspondent Belinda Tete has filed this report.
Rising demand for mental health care, many facilities are still struggling to provide adequate support for those in need. Mental health professionals face significant hurdles in performing their mandate.
We have problems with issues of medication, psychomedications. We have logistics constraints. And actually what we have to do in the area of mental health, we are unable to do because of logistics, and then the staff are also few, and there are other things, funding and the rest.
The World Health Organization estimates that approximately 13% of Ghanaians suffer from a mental disorder. Funding for mental health services is often inadequate, leading to limited resources and understaffed facilities. Mental health professionals are pleading with the government to introduce a mental health levy into the system to help them combat mental health.
We will also be very grateful to the government or individuals responsible if they can just create a mental health levy, even if it is 20 pesos on fuel, only fuel for us, so that anytime anyone buys a fuel from the filling station, that 20 pesos is there. I think it will solve most of our problems.
Government expanded the national benefits package for the national health.
Project under the Agenda 111 initiative. The district capital, Jinijini, currently has a health center to address the healthcare needs of the community, which is inadequate.
The Brekum West District in the Bono region has a population of nearly 50,000 people. However, the district faces a significant challenge in healthcare, as there is no referral hospital to serve the community's growing needs. The only healthcare facility in the district capital, Jinijini, is a health center that struggles to meet the demands of the population. At the annual performance review held in Jinijini, the Bono Regional Public Health Nurse Rita Ashong emphasized the need for collaborative efforts from all stakeholders to build a central hospital for the district. She expressed concern over the slow progress of the Agenda 111 project and called for government and local leaders to accelerate the development of healthcare infrastructure in the area.
We have to look at it and work to upgrade the health center to a hospital or a polyclinic status. If we get a theater, a blood donation fridge and others, to help the health center to get the status of a hospital or a polyclinic and to enable a doctor to come and assist.
This is still News 360 on TV3, also on all our social media platforms at TV3 Ghana. We're back with more stories after this break.
Hello there, good evening and welcome to the sports segment here on News 360. My name is Bill Lisher. Now, the 2023 African Games gold medalist and two-time Olympian Joseph Paul Amoah was impressed with coverage of the 2025 Superzonals athletics competition in Cape Coast and Kumasi. Amoah, who attended Prempeh College in his youth, believes this goes a long way in properly documenting feats of young athletes from second cycle schools.
The media houses, you journalists did an exceptional job in trying to bring the Superzonals into the limelight, making other people see it. I don't know if I can find a video of myself running them when I was in Prempeh College. I don't know if there's a video, but there's somebody probably took a video on their phone, but I can't find none on YouTube. I don't think anybody was there to cover it. So that's a big thing that now we are able to see stuff like that on YouTube, on TV3. You guys did your thing covering some athletes, and that was really nice to see, because in the near future somebody might want to see their video as evidence that, oh, okay, you guys are saying he's good, but we want to see a video. And then the best thing is go on YouTube or contact some of the media houses and they could show you a clip.
Of course, we'll be posting more post-Superzonals updates in the coming week. But Ghana defender Tariq Lamptey received his marching orders shortly after Newcastle's Aaron Gordon received a red card. This mishap did not negatively affect Brighton and Hove Albion as they powered to a 2-1 victory over the Magpies to reach the quarterfinals of the competition. Manchester United also suffered a defeat at Old Trafford to Fulham on penalties.
Against them this season, but sharp header, that's a lovely ball into Minty. It's 1-1 and Minty scores against the team that really didn't give him a first team chance. Redemption for the man who gave away the penalty. 1-1. Turned into trouble there, Lamptey. Oh, and Tariq Lamptey's going to go for a second yellow, and both teams are down to 10 for extra time, you'd have thought. Turned into trouble, mistimed it, always at risk.
Wow, football's incredible, isn't it? What a game this has been.
Turns out to find the spaces on the right-hand side. Sonny March has Diego Gomez out there. Plays in here to Danny Welbeck to win it for Brighton and Hove Albion. And Newcastle United look for a flag. Off the bench, the old hand amongst the young pups of Brighton and Hove Albion sends those fans into utter delirium. And he's put them within reach of the quarter-final.
Well, Danny Welbeck has already scored a winner here this year in the Premier League. Lightning may...
That's it for the sports segment. My name is Billy Shen. Entertainment is up next.
Entertainment news segment is brought to you by Napa Foods, Heaven Black Insecticide Spray and Coil, powered by 3 Entertainment.
In entertainment news this evening, acclaimed Ghanaian movie maker Shirley Frimpong Manso has encouraged her fellow producers to offer up-and-coming actors the chance to star in their projects to enhance their reputation and help to progress their career. She is strongly convinced the move is necessary to grow the industry and discover quality replacements for experienced actors when they phase out.
Mommy, hold on.
I borrowed it! How dare you! For years, Sparrow Studios, led by renowned movie producer Shirley Frimpong Manso, has been a cornerstone of Ghana's film industry, producing captivating and high-quality films. The studio has not only won the hearts of movie lovers with its production, but has also played a pivotal role in launching the careers of some of Ghana's finest film stars.
I'm getting married this weekend.
What other life is there for you and I? No, tell me. Shirley from Pongmanto has encouraged fellow producers to offer emerging actors a chance to star in their projects, boosting both their own reputations and those of the actors while helping to advance their careers.
There's so many up-and-coming actors in Ghana, okay? And I think that it's only possible for them to find work and be able to get to the point where some of our, let's say, popular actors have gotten to if we give them the chance. There's so many wonderful talents out there. I mean, you would also come to realize that these new faces actually deliver, they perform, and they are very good. And this is the way we keep the industry going, all right? Because as some people phase out, we have to have other people, you know, come in and do their bit.
Known for her groundbreaking works such as Checkmate, 6 Hours to Christmas, A Sting in the Tail, Peep, Portomanto and others, her films have earned accolades both locally and internationally.
We can grow this industry by basically get a lot more people involved, and that's basically what we do. We can't do it all in one day, and it's, you know, it's little steps, but I think we're doing something.
What do I make of that?
Really, yes. Now, why would I marry you if you couldn't turn me on?
Well, still in entertainment news, a few days after the appointment of the new officials to the Ghana National Film Authority, the outgoing Executive Secretary, Juliet Asante, has shared insights into several challenges that hindered her work. In a recent Facebook post, Juliet disclosed that at the outset of her appointment, she had to fund the authority's operations from her own pocket and use personal office space. While advocating for financial support for the newly appointed officials, she also revealed that the Bank of Ghana had cleared the funds saved in the authority's account. The little money I raised for the office and cab by the end of last year has been cleared from the account of the Bank of Ghana before we could get the office and get the office vehicle, she wrote in the Facebook post. Well, that's it for entertainment news. Let's now bring you some international news.
We begin tonight's international news from East Africa, where World Health Organization says a second Ebola patient, a 4-year-old child, has died in Uganda. The World Health Organization said Uganda's Ministry of Health reported a positive Ebola case at Mulago Hospital, the country's only referral center for the virus. The fatality brings the number of confirmed cases in Uganda to 10. Uganda declared an outbreak of the highly infectious and often fatal hemorrhagic disease in January after the death of a male nurse at the Mulago National Referral Hospital in the capital, Kampala. The ministry said on February 18 that all 8 Ebola patients under care had been discharged, but that at least 265 contacts remained under strict quarantine in Kampala and 2 other cities. Ebola symptoms include fever, headache and muscle pains. The virus is transmitted through contact with infected bodily fluids and tissue. The 2014-2016 Ebola outbreak in West Africa killed more than 11,000 people, the virus's largest death toll. A private spacecraft has landed on the moon, becoming the only second commercial vehicle to reach the lunar surface. Blue Ghost touched down smoothly, having been orbited the moon for the last 2 weeks. Blue Ghost left Earth on January 15 after being launched by US firm Firefly Aerospace with the intention of exploring the Sea of Crisis, a huge crater visible from Earth. The project is the largest collaboration by US space agency NASA and private companies. Intuitive Machines, another firm, is hoping to land its Antonov spacecraft near the moon's south pole in the next few days. Iran's economy minister has been impeached after parliament voted to dismiss him from office amid rising inflation and a falling currency. Abdul Nasser Hemati, was removed from office after 182 out of 273 lawmakers voted against him. The move comes just 6 months after moderate President Masoud Pezeshkian's government took office. Hardline lawmakers who have been attacking the president's team since the start of his government argued that the economy minister was instrumental in Iran's economic stability and could be dangerous for the country if allowed to remain in office.
And that's how we wrap up tonight's edition of the news. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Ayisha Yakubuu.
My name is Noble Crosby, and stay with us here on TV3 and enjoy the rest of our program. State Rush is up next with Giovanni Caleb. Enjoy the fun, enjoy the drama that comes with it. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.